Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS, and before I start today's video, I've got a couple of important things to say. The first is that my camera is back. For those of you who didn't know, the camera that I normally use to record videos, it's a DSLR, it's pretty expensive. It actually broke a couple weeks back. I had to send it in for repair, and that's why videos were kind of spotty and weird for a while, and I did all those guest uploads. So my camera's back. I'm really happy. The repair cost a lot, but it wasn't actually worth it to buy a new camera either. So that's the story on that. Also, the Let's Play of Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist is going to be returning this week. The PS4 is working again. For those of you who don't know, the reason why we stopped doing it for a while was because the PlayStation 4 had some issues, but it's also conveniently working just now, so that'll also be starting up later in the week. And for those of you who didn't know, I did go to YCS Dallas. I met a lot of people. I was really happy about that. We did a bit of a recap video. And last but not least, I've been trying to stream a little bit more on Twitch. So we've got a particularly important stream planned for Halloween, which I'll be giving a few more details about later on, but if you want to tune into that, we're going to try to play like some horror games on PS4, probably like Outlast or maybe Until Dawn. Not sure. And finally, the reason why I'm not doing a monthly giveaway this month is because my camera repair cost lots of money. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So let's hop into the actual discussion, which is something that a viewer actually requested to me on the Facebook page. So I do take requests, I do read those and put them in consideration. And it's what are the real life benefits of playing Yu-Gi-Oh? An interesting question because everybody just kind of thinks of Yu-Gi-Oh as just this thing that you play it and that's pretty much it. You just play it, you get better at it hopefully, and you beat people and collect the cards, and that's just kind of that. But what are the kind of real life benefits, implications, consequences even, of playing Yu-Gi-Oh? So basically he kind of had it sorted out into 5 categories, and I'm just going to kind of go over those, and at the end of the video I want to know what you guys think are some of the real life benefits, maybe even detriments of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's get started. The first one that usually comes to mind for most people is financial. So how does Yu-Gi-Oh! Affect you financially in your real life? So I would say that financially, you know, I wouldn't say Yu-Gi-Oh's like taught me very much, but I think that there are some small implications that it has. Like the first maybe being, it kind of teaches you that you have to settle sometimes for cheaper things. In Yu-Gi-Oh, there are usually options. You can usually pick an expensive version of a card and a cheap, common version of a card. With all the reprints that have happened lately, it's usually pretty easy for most cards to be gotten in one rarity or another, and you'll meet the people who live a bougie lifestyle in real life, and you know, they get expensive stuff because they can afford it, or they maybe can't afford it, but they get it anyway because they want to show off. And you have the people who will settle for cheap cards even if they can afford better ones. So it's kind of an analogy to real life. Some people might call the sort of Yu-Gi-Oh price market thing a sort of mini model of, like, you know, stock marketing. I wouldn't say it's really quite that sophisticated or even really close, but I mean, you can learn a little bit about, you know, just things like return on investment, buying things for cheaper prices than you sell them so you can make a profit, having a good sort of eagle's eye of the Yu-Gi-Oh card economy, so to speak, getting cards cheap when they're not expensive and not hyped up, and then selling them for, you know, a potential profit. Those are all just kind of basic things, I'd say, but Yu-Gi-Oh does teach you that. And last but not least, I think Yu-Gi-Oh just in general teaches you a little bit of like budgeting relative to your real life, because I've seen a lot of people who you know, they will, I'll see them in a Yu-Gi-Oh group, like a locals group, quitting Yu-Gi-Oh because, you know, they can't afford to pay their bills and they need to sell everything. I'm selling everything to pay my bills, blah blah blah, this game's gotta go, I'm done with this game. And then the next month they're like, okay, he's selling a collection, I want to play again. And so that's kind of irresponsible, and that happens a lot. So I would definitely say that well, it's not a benefit. Yu-Gi-Oh can maybe teach you a little bit of budgeting. Don't know whether I call it a good or a bad thing if you have to go through bad experiences, but it's there, so there's that. The next thing is socially. Socially, does Yu-Gi-Oh give you any real life benefits? And I'd say definitely. Yu-Gi-Oh is a social game. It's a social hobby. It's not something you can really play alone. I mean, if you want, you can just play on Dueling Network and Dev Pro alone in your basement all day long, but most people go to card shops. They have a locals, they interact with people, they, you know, you have to meet people. When you play somebody, when you sit down at the table, that is a social experience. You have to speak to them in some capacity. There's almost no way to just play Yu-Gi-Oh! Completely silently. But even outside of that, when you have to trade with people, you have to socialize with them. And just the locals in general, you're going to have a conversation. You're going to talk about real life things. You're going to hopefully make some friends at locals. You'll make some enemies, I guess, people you don't like. I'll definitely say playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I've met a lot of personalities that I might have been exposed to otherwise, and there's some that I don't like, but I've also made a lot of friends with Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think that it's actually been a really big benefit. Friends like Calvin and Chris, especially, who are in some of my videos, they definitely are friends that I met completely through Yu-Gi-Oh! But while we all still play and enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's one way we connect, we're also just really good friends outside of it. And so I think that that's actually really great that, you can meet people through Yu-Gi-Oh! And socialize, and it kind of forces socialization. So even if you're kind of an awkward person who doesn't really talk to people and you're shy, you're kind of forced to make friends. I think that's a pretty good thing. Even though, there will be some problem people you don't like. Ultimately, I think it's a benefit though. Mentally, so this was listed in the sort of video suggestion, and I would say that there's some merit to it. Mentally, I'd say Yu-Gi-Oh! Is definitely like, it kind of depends on what you think, how you define like mentally, but I would say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Does keep you sharp, just playing the game itself. There's always stuff that you have to look up outside of the game. So you always have to know, stay up to date on current rulings, card interactions, combos, new releases, ban lists and stuff like that. But even in-game, you have to be kind of a sharp person. You got to be kind of quick on your feet in terms of like, math and reading. And that sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how many people just completely skip that step. And also you have to be cognizant of a lot of things. You gotta be sharp, what's in the grave, how many cards in your opponent's hand, how many resources have been wasted, what's kind of the point of the game where you feel comfortable or safe doing this. There is decision making. People might say Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes no skill, whatever, but I completely disagree. I feel like there's definitely a mental aspect. You have to be zoned in, you have to be focused to make the right decisions, because you'll misplay otherwise, and nothing feels worse than losing to a misplay that you made. So never fun. But yeah, I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Can kind of keep you mentally sharp, mentally aware, and that's a good thing. So we'll give it a check mark. How about physically? So this is an interesting one. I'd say that this is probably the least relatable one. There's not a lot of physical exertion in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I would say that maybe at a higher level, like when you're playing at high level events, there's a certain degree of fatigue that can get involved, a certain degree of endurance that's tested. And I'm not even trying to compare this to like an actual real life sport or something like that, but when you go to Yu-Gi-Oh! Events all day, and I've had this even when I don't play in them, it's just tiring having to walk around and you just talk to people and walk around and trade and pull out binders and just do this and that for like several hours, being on your feet for a long time can get a little bit tiring. I'll say it's not exactly something that I'd say is like particularly rough. Anybody can do it. It shouldn't, it won't discriminate. There aren't like people who can't really play Yu-Gi-Oh! I think because they can't exert themselves enough, I'd say. But like I was saying before, I think at the higher level, if you're in day 2 or top 32 or top 8 or whatever, or YCS or nationals, or even just a large regional, there might be a little bit of physiological effect on you. You might there's sweat. Some people sweat. Some people just kind of shake and shiver or tense up, or even give themselves like headaches or something like that. Just kind of, or stomach aches, just from being so zoned in, being so focused, and operating under so much pressure. So it can have some physiological effects, but like I said, this is probably the biggest stretch of these categories. I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a huge deal of physical influence, but we'll give it that if you want to. And finally, this guy listed emotional benefits or effects that Yu-Gi-Oh! Can have on you. And I'd say that the first one that comes to mind, the obvious one, is probably salt. A lot of people get salty when they lose and stuff like that. You will definitely, go through kind of several phases of salt actually in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's kind of he's playing a cheap deck and he only won because he top decked that or this or that, or I would have won if. And there's like rivalries, and so you'll get emotionally invested. You'll get angry. You'll get jealous of people who can afford better cards. And some people I've actually met really do get jealous of that type of thing. I know it sounds like a surprise, And there'll be salt about losing. People get angry because they lost. They don't want to lose. And then you'll meet like sore winners, for Christ's sake. And you get people who just talk trash and they'll make you angry, or they'll get overly enthused. It's a really crazy game, and I mean you're also really happy though when you win, especially when you win in a very convincing way, or when you win in a tight, close game and you like just feel like you really outplayed your opponent. Very satisfying feeling. So I think that there's some emotions tied to Yu-Gi-Oh! I'd say that it's kind of a you get into it, what you put out of it type of thing. I know I'm not particularly I don't attach many emotions to playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So I don't really get as angry when I lose. I also don't really get as happy as when I win. But nobody can deny that it feels good to win and it kind of feels bad to lose. It hurts your pride. So those are kind of the 5 things that were mentioned in the message that was sent to me, again on Facebook. So if you guys ever have like video suggestions, you can always mention that to me. I'll definitely look at them. But so that concludes the video. What do you guys think though? What are some of the other real life benefits, real life takeaways from Yu-Gi-Oh? And explain them a little bit. And if nothing else, what do you think? Do you think that this is kind of just a bunch of nonsense? That Yu-Gi-Oh is just Yu-Gi-Oh, and to take it any further is just kind of overthinking things. So yeah, that's the video for today. I really hope you guys liked it. Like I said, my camera is back and I'm really happy about it. And I've got some plans for later in the month, for like October. Like I said, the live stream, and maybe some like Halloween themed goodness and videos, and the Let's Play is coming back soon. So yeah, everything, all is well. Team APS is looking great. So anyway, thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Remember to leave that comment with your thoughts. Subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! And I will catch you guys later. Bye.